Think your boss is bad? Imagine waking up every day to work in places that would make your brain quit on the spot and could also kill you, drive you insane, or turn you into a bizarre historical footnote. Yep, my friends, the world is at jobs that make your spreadsheet stress look like a vacation in Bora Bora. We're talking about jobs so absurd, so unhealthy, and so dangerous that you'll start appreciating your office Wi-Fi and air conditioning. Chimney sweeps choking on coal dust all day, leech collectors diving into swamps to remove blood-sucking creatures, guillotine operators performing in front of cheering crowds. And that's just the beginning. In the next few minutes, we'll count down the 7 worst jobs in history, from the least insane to the one that will make you wish you could pay any overtime just to avoid being in their position. Get ready to laugh, be shocked, and maybe feel a little grateful for your annoying boss. And fair warning, number 1 is so unbelievable that you'll wonder how any civilization survived without extended vacations, safety gear, or occupational therapy. Before we dive into this disaster of jobs, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. If this countdown doesn't make you laugh nervously, I'll personally send the smell of the Middle Ages straight to your living room. No alerts, no reminders, just you, me, and a bunch of completely unhinged workers from the past. 7th place, chimney sweep, Victorian England. Imagine this. You're about 8 years old, small and flexible, and your daily job is to crawl into dirty, narrow chimneys packed with soot that can choke your lungs. Welcome to the English Industrial Revolution, where children were literally sent to squeeze through the flues of homes and factories. These brave or unaware little ones had to clean the accumulated soot while balancing at dangerous heights. The risks? Burning themselves, suffocating, or developing lung cancer long before they even learned to write their own name. Basically, it was a deadly game of hide and seek with coal and fire. And you know what's even more absurd? Society thought this was normal. While parents worked in factories and industries thrived, children cleaned chimneys to keep homes warm. No vacations, no safety gear, no one raising an eyebrow. Pure child exploitation. And of course, the humorous part, if we can call it that, is imagining these little kids running back and forth while soot stuck to their skin, hair, and clothes, all completely matter of fact. You look at your work-from-home routine and think, well, at least I can stand up without nearly dying. Oh, modern life is a luxury. So next time you complain about work, remember, somewhere in Victorian England, a child the size of a pencil was literally trying to survive inside a chimney. That was real hard work. 6th place, rat catcher, Middle Ages. Now, brace your stomach and your sanity, because we're entering medieval Europe, a charming era full of castles and rats. Lots of rats, like a furry zombie invasion of rats, and someone had to deal with them. Guess who? You, the brave rat catcher. These professionals were paid, or almost paid, to enter sewers, basements, and barns infested with rodents. Bites, fleas, and diseases were just part of the daily routine. The bubonic plague? Just an extra line on your resume. The funniest part, if we can even call it that, is that technically you were part of the problem and the solution at the same time. The more rats you caught, the more seemed to appear. It was like playing an endless video game, only with a real risk of losing your life. And the social charm? Well, nobody really wanted to hang out with you. Your presence was necessary, but your reputation... Let's just say being friends with a rat catcher wasn't exactly the best introduction for a royal ball.
Dark humor aside, these workers were essential. Without them, cities would have sunk into a mix of sanitation chaos and deadly disease. But the irony remains. While the nobility slept in canopy beds, you were chasing rats with your bare hands. Medieval life. Always surprising. So, next time you complain about your annoying boss or the office cleaning, remember, somewhere in the Middle Ages, someone was literally negotiating with rats, fleas, and deadly disease for a handful of coins. That's real extreme work.
5th place, gut scraper. Meat factories, 19th century. Now things get really foul. We're in the heart of 19th century meat factories in cities like Chicago. The job? Scraping animal guts, removing leftover entrails, and making sure every piece of meat was ready for consumption. A job that smelled like everything you'd rather never smell in your life. Imagine walking into an environment every day where the air is a mix of rot, blood, and human sweat. And yes, the smell really stuck to you, to your thoughts, and probably even to your dreams. The routine was repetitive, unhealthy, and for many, absolutely traumatizing. The fun part? Well, dark humor is unavoidable. Mix sewage, guts, and sweat, add a pinch of boredom, and you've got the perfume of a meat factory. Not even Chanel could compete. Beyond the olfactory discomfort, there were serious infection risks. Accidental cuts, contact with contaminated blood, and bacteria were part of the daily package. But of course, nobody complained. The work was essential, and the pay was barely symbolic. It's also a good moment to reflect on labor rights. These workers were among the first to realize they deserved better conditions, not just because of the smell and risk, but for the simple right to survive a workday without becoming a medical statistic. So, next time you complain about the smell of burnt coffee in your kitchen or microwaved office chicken, remember, somewhere in the 19th century, people spent all day scraping guts while hungry customers only thought about their juicy dinner steak. Human progress. It comes at a price.
4th place, Mercury hat maker, 18th to 19th century. Hold your nose and brace your mind, because this job could literally drive you insane. And that's not an exaggeration. We're talking about hat makers who used mercury to shape and shine felt. Yes, the same mercury you were taught never to touch in school chemistry. And they spent hours, days, and years immersed in this precious but toxic metal. The process? Basically, rubbing and shaping hats with mercury, inhaling poisonous vapors while trying to make the product elegant enough for the European aristocracy. And the result, besides a stylish hat, was a decidedly unglamorous side effect: dementia, tremors, extreme irritability, and in many cases, premature death. The term Mad Hatter wasn't just a joke, it was a daily medical diagnosis. Now, imagine the irony. You work to make someone stylish on the street while your brain and body slowly fall apart. It's like being an involuntary fashion influencer for your own symptoms. The fun part? Dark humor couldn't be left out. Work with mercury, look fashionable, and lose your sanity, all in one elegant felt package. Not exactly a dream career opportunity, but at least you could literally say you went crazy for your job. And if you think they were at least making a fortune, think again. Pay was modest, and demand was high, meaning it was hard to say no, even knowing the price could be your mind. So, next time someone complains about too many emails or endless meetings, remember, there were people who literally went insane because of a hat. That's real extreme dedication or a cruel joke from history. Third place, guillotine operator, French Revolution. If you think your job is stressful, imagine having to literally cut off heads. During the French Revolution, the guillotine operator was a public official with a curious, prestigious role, ensuring executions were quick, efficient, and preferably painless. For the audience, it was entertainment. For him, just another workday. The equipment? A sharp blade, a platform, and, well, lots and lots of nervous people waiting their turn. The operator needed surgical precision while handling the social pressure of being forever remembered as the official executioner. After all, no one wanted to see you stumble in front of a crowd hungry for revolutionary justice. Dark humor was inevitable. Like, you had fans, but none of them wanted to introduce you to their family. It was basically history's first form of toxic fame. While everyone celebrated the guillotine's efficiency, the operator collected stigmas and suspicious glances and possibly recurring nightmares. Imagine the paradox: public prestige versus social isolation. One day you are respected for maintaining order, the next, any dinner invitation is rejected. And of course, no vacations or health insurance, just your skill and nerves of steel to survive another workday. The bizarre part? In some cities, the position was as coveted as a modern executive job. But the pay? Modest. The pressure? Immense. And the risk of a fatal mistake? Extremely high. Not exactly the kind of job you'd put on LinkedIn, but certainly great for stories like "Things my family won't believe I did." So, if you think complaining about your boss is bad, remember, there were people dealing with furious crowds and daily decapitations. That's real extreme work stress, and proof that not all prestige comes without a price.
Second place, dead body carrier, bubonic plague. If you think your job is tough, try imagining getting paid to carry the corpses of people who had just succumbed to the bubonic plague. Millions were dying in medieval Europe, and you, my friend, were the lucky one tasked with transporting the bodies to mass graves. And no, there were no protective gloves, masks, or health insurance. Just courage or a healthy dose of insanity. The risks? Extremely high. Every contact was like playing Russian roulette with the deadliest disease of the time. And the pay? Low. The irony? Without these workers, cities would have turned into an even faster apocalypse. Basically, you were a coffin delivery person with free shipping straight to hell. Dark humor was inevitable. Like, if you think your boss is annoying, imagine your employer expecting you to smile while carrying bloated, plague-ridden corpses. And of course, no one volunteered for this job, which meant you were both feared and indispensable. A far from envy-worthy position. Imagine the logistics, carrying corpses in carts, navigating streets full of plague, unable to complain, and still hearing neighbors grumble about the smell. Every day was a lesson in endurance, patience, and practical training for dealing with situations no career manual ever covers. Despite everything, these workers were crucial. Without them, the plague would have swept through cities even faster. But the glory? Zero. Only sweat, fear, and the occasional thought, I bet my modern job is much safer. Or is it? So next time you complain about overtime or a boring project, remember there were people who literally carried death as part of their daily routine. That's real extreme work, and probably the worst paycheck in history. First place, latrine cleaner, Roman Empire. And here we are at the top of the podium for the most absurd jobs in history. If you think your modern job is unsanitary, get ready. Latrine cleaner in the Roman Empire. Public restrooms, shared sponges for hygiene, and you, happily tasked with removing human waste every day. Yes, a real poop spa, just without the massage or aromatherapy. The risks were many: infections, skin diseases, poisoning. No gloves, no masks, Nothing. Every workday was an exercise in endurance, iron stomach, and nerves of steel. The irony? An empire that built impressive aqueducts and sophisticated sanitation networks still needed humans to deal with, well, the most real side of urban life. And dark humor was inevitable. If you think your boss is demanding, at least he doesn't make you smell used sponges and collect what society leaves behind. Moreover, no one wanted to be remembered for this role, meaning the cleaners were invisible to everyone except those who truly needed the job done. Invisible, essential, and eternally underestimated. So picture the scene. You arrive at the communal latrine, sponge in hand, facing the indescribable odor while thinking, today might be the day I retire or die of typhus. Every task was a cruel reminder that without these workers, the empire would have faced even more devastating epidemics. A practical lesson in how any society depends on its invisibles, those no one recognizes, yet who keep everything running. So, if you thought complaining about cold office coffee was bad, remember, there were people who spent their lives dealing with human waste with no applause, no vacations, and no fair pay. If your job today seems unbearable, be thankful you're not cleaning Roman latrines.
So, up to this point, which of these jobs would you never take? Not for all the gold in the world. Imagine having to choose between a leech catcher or a Roman latrine cleaner. Tough, right? Tell us in the comments. We want to know if you could survive at least one of these hellish jobs, or if you'd be screaming for help in the first minute. After all, this ranking only makes sense with your reaction. And let's be honest, nervous laughter is pretty much mandatory at this point.
Let's do a quick recap. We had children crawling through chimneys like a deadly game of hide and seek. Brave rat catchers, workers immersed in guts and filth. Guillotine operators with audiences watching as if it were a movie. Plague corpse carriers, and of course, the legendary Roman latrine cleaners, the pinnacle of historical glamour. If you think your job is tough today, remember, someone survived all this and even managed to tell the story, probably with the stench of sewage still lingering in their memory. And the moral? Humanity got this far because millions of people accepted absurd, unsanitary, and often deadly jobs. We complain about cold coffee, endless meetings, or a difficult boss. But compared to these historical jobs, modern life is practically a resort. And that alone is reason enough to smile, laugh, and if you're brave, share this list with someone who needs a historical perspective on workplace suffering.
If you laughed, regretted complaining about your job, or just enjoyed this dive into the worst jobs in history, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Share it with friends who love bizarre facts or who constantly complain about the office. They'll either thank you or despair after watching. And remember, if you don't do this, we might just hire you as an honorary latrine cleaner. No pay, but with all the glory of the past. Survive that decision, and you've earned another nearly intelligent, evolved-ish video.